Yo, what's up, everybody? Boxer Source checking in, and here we go with another episode. Conversations with the topic. We got our guy here. The topic. Yo, jumping on here, man. It's been a good little minute, since we had our last conversation. I know, we were out there over in Philadelphia for that Boots Shikachian bout, and there's been a number of things that have gone on since then. We got this whole thing with the announcement of Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach. That's going to be March 1st at the Barclays Center. You had that press conference over in New York City, and we're about to have another press conference in Washington D.C. But going into this particular matchup itself, of course, is for the WBA lightweight title. Two guys that are familiar with each other from the amateurs, now competing in the pros there. So, what's your thoughts on this fight in general, and anything about the history between those two fighters?
Um, so it's boxing, so I do want to, I have seen the upset with a heavy favorite guy when Matias and Paro fought. So with that in mind, I do want to give Roach a chance, you know what I'm saying? But as a genuine person of the sport, it's tough. My bad. You can still hear me?
Yeah.
It's tough to, go against what we've been seeing Tank produce. You know what I'm saying? He got that showstopper, you know what I mean? So it's tough to really go against that. But I do feel like a lot of those guys, when they fight Tank, they already coming into the ring mentally defeated, intimidated, you know what I mean? So a lot of those guys already beat. I don't know how much the familiarity with Roach and Tank from them being kids, you know what I mean, can help Roach because he might not be as scared since he's similar, I mean, he's familiar with his power and things like that. It might be a quicker adapting phase, but it's like I said, it's still tough to, you know what I'm saying, go against Tank when he got that one hitter quitter. So what you think about that fight? I see you've been, real active and moving around. What's your, you know, true thoughts on the fight?
You brought up a good point in reference to the familiarity that both of these fighters have with each other, and so I think that's going to be a major factor here in this bout. One, and then two, the other point that you put in was many of the opponents that Tank has had have had some level of been intimidated of him. Lamont Roach is not that. Having the past with Tank Davis and saying that, hey, I've been around his camps, I've been around, the people that he works with, and I know about a few things that other people may not know. So that gives him a level of confidence going into this fight. And even with what was going on the other day when Tank got sparked up by someone putting 100K on Lamont Roach, and a couple of comments there from Lamont Roach that got Tank saying like, "Hey, you better leave your kids and your girl at home," and all that type of stuff. That is kind of like part of what Tank does leading into his fights. So we'll see what they got here for today's press conference. But I think that with Lamont Roach having that level of confidence, he says, you know what, I feel like I'm the one that could get the better of Tank in that fight coming up on March 1st. Now, one other thing that was talked about for that press conference was Tank was saying, you know what, I've been in this game a long time since a kid, 6, 7, 8 years old, and what is it? You turned 30 last month, and so he said like after 2025, I'm done with the sport. Uh, you think that that may have a factor in this upcoming bout? Because it almost seemed like he wasn't all too, up or amped up until that part where the bet was placed and all that.
Um, I mean, I was listening for when they was asking him like how the Roach fight took, way and all that. And he kind of, I didn't give nothing concrete. He was saying like, basically like his team, and those guys chose him. Um, when you've reached the level of stardom that Tank has reached, You know, like the guy that Tank was and who he is now are two different people. Like he come from the struggle, you know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
he kind of had like a fast track, you know, you go from being one day like, yeah, you could be boxing and all that, but you could still be where you at
Hmm.
to, you know, now he got the money to be able to buy whatever his heart desires. And then once you've done that for a little while, you start to feel like empty. You know what I'm saying? You can feel once you've seen those dreams and all of that kind of stuff, you know, especially like somebody like him who's had the past that he's had.
Hmm.
Um, I think he said he wanted to get like therapy or something, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I'm saying? And those two don't go hand in hand. Like this is a
Hmm.
violent sport. You know, a lot of those
Hmm.
guys are fighting from this is therapy for a lot of guys, boxing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is how they go in
Mhm.
there where they don't know how to necessarily
Channel their anger.
internalize, yeah, speak what they saying or they know but something in them.
Yeah.
Like when we seen on the joint when dudes start talking and you seen a switch light up in him.
Yep.
That's probably what he want to get. You know what I'm saying? Because it's something deep in him where it's like he might not think about it, but he's just reacting. Where it's something from his childhood or something like that. That you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Where it's good that he's identifying because this is a sport. You know what I'm saying? Boxing is a sport, and as much as the fans and the people and all that want to see it, this is just entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Once the curtains close and you left the parking lot and that cleanup crew come in, these people
Hmm.
are still human. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he might fight once, twice a year, whatever. But in between that time, he might be dealing with stuff where he says, you know what? I've made enough money. You know what I'm saying? How much is enough? You know what I mean? How much money is enough money? When you come from a humble
Yeah.
beginning like that, how much money do I need? You know what I'm saying? When I was just in here, you feel me? Now I got whatever I want.
Yeah.
How much money
Yeah.
do I need where he can make a more rational decision to say, you know what? I've done this. I've seen the top. You know, I've done what I could do. I felt like, you know, where he's just growing. You know what I'm saying? It could be, and then it could be a lot of stuff behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of stuff with his camp where he might just say, you know what, bro? I ain't feeling this no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm not feeling this boxing game no more. The politics of it. I might, you know what I mean? So it really depends. Like I say, for Tank to be an A side guy from the beginning,
Yeah.
um, you know what I'm saying? He hasn't had to take that B side route to
Yeah, well, yeah, not necessarily. The only time it was like when he won his first title, and that was even then that was kind of like where he was like an A side of sorts, you know, because of who he was with at the time under Mayweather promotion. So it was like they were able to get him that fight and have him kind of like featured in that sense. Big quick shout out there to Eugene there of Green Boxing here joining us live here. It's a conversation with the topic and like you said there, when it comes to Tank Davis, we came from, basically, the streets and all that type of stuff, and getting himself from where he was at like 6, 7, 8 years old up to the point where, they have that terminology, the face of boxing. They refer to him as the face of boxing. So you have those few fights there where pay-per-views, a lot of attention, and all that type of stuff. Like I pretty much if he feels like he has what he needs at this point to live his life, then yeah, he could just walk away and be set for life. You know what I mean? And he has that popularity where like no matter what happens with him, a lot of people are gonna pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, for my channel, like going live that day, it seemed like the views for just Tank Davis alone pretty much like smashed just about everything that I had on my channel, like everything. So that tells you the amount of attention that Tank Davis gets there, regardless of who his opponent is. But if he feels like, hey, let me just get one or two fights out the way and walk away from the sport, that's on him. It's one thing to be to have like a legacy or something like that, but at the end of the day, you're a professional fighter. You, as Zeb Judah says, you don't play boxing, so you want to get out the game and be, as you know, as coherent as possible and not, lose too much. You feel me? So that's the thing about it. We got to see
And then
here what Tank does in 2025.
I'm gonna piggyback off of you, like you said, bro. You have to love it. I mean, you can't
Mhm.
play boxing. You know what I'm saying you have to genuinely love this sport. Like it looks cool to do, you know what I'm saying? But once you actually signed up for like, hey, I'm gonna really become a boxer, bro, it is one of the most demanding sports you could absolutely do. The training,
Mhm.
the constant training, the discipline, you know what I mean? Especially like when these guys have been from six to, like you say, like you have to truly dedicate your life to the training. You're not supposed to, like stuff that kids do, eating Cheetos and oversleeping and just chilling. And, when you're an
Mhm.
athlete like that, boxer, you can't. You got to stay on weight. When you're in these tournaments, you can't balloon up too much. You can't chill too much. So a lot of your life and things like that for those guys that's really on that track get taken away from them. You know what I mean? And then two, bro, once you have reached a certain amount of money, yeah, I think you getting punched. Like these guys can take it, bro, but seriously, our body is not designed to
Yeah.
take continuous abuse and blows to the head, and so that stuff take a toll. And then when you got a lot of money, you like, you know what? I don't know if I feel like, what I'm saying, you didn't bought a Ferrari and a Bugatti, and you out there looking at the people wash it. I don't know if I feel like going running today. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like I don't know. I don't feel like doing it. So it's harder for you to have that same hunger compared to a guy who at the beginning, where they staring up that hill and they looking at, I want all of that. But then once you get it, you see, man, this stuff means nothing. You know what I'm saying? This stuff
Mhm.
is it's all material things. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I just want to piggyback off of that one, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, going off that story, we just recently had something there, at least a post out there from one of my folks there on the brunch boxing, talking about Pritchard Cologne, and boxing fans know about Pritchard Cologne and what happened in this fight that ended up having him be paralyzed and having the brain damage and everything like that. Is that you can't necessarily predict what could happen once you step in the ring. So every time you step in the ring, it's a risk. So if you have it to the point where you get a good amount of money or get enough money while you're in the game, and you have the decision where you could step out when you want to, that's a great advantage. And I think as Tank was talking to Dan Canabio after the presser, I think it was, where he was talking about his daughters, and I think that was like one of the major factors in what Tank is talking about as far as like retiring there. Yeah, there, man. Eugene said, hey, it's hard to wake up in silk pajamas.
Yeah,
You get to that, yeah,
definitely.
you get to that point, man. Or how some fighters that have been in the game could say, they could get to a point in their career and they could get ready for a fight or get ready to go to the gym, and it's like once they get up, they start hurting. And this is like before even preparing for a fight, or even if they hadn't been fighting for a while, they'll be hurting. And once it gets to that point, and they're like, "Yo, this is not really good for me," then yeah, then they'll step away from the game. So once you have that opportunity to do that and have most of your health intact, then you definitely do it, because this is as I say, a combat sport, but a contact sport, just like
It's the
football.
hurt business.
It's the hurt business. So if you out there taking a lot of punishment, whether
You
it's in a
can get
fight or in the
hurt.
gym, yeah, you gotta be able to know what your limitations are. And I think a number of people don't really realize that here when it comes to uh, boxing. You feel me?
So
So
not
yeah.
to cut you off, bro. I'm gonna share a small side story. So I remember my first time ever trying to become a boxer. I've always had the love for the sport, all that, whatever, boom. So one day, one of my buddies, short dog, Jordan White, he has a
Mhm.
gym at his house or whatever like that. So I've been knowing him for a long time. Like outside of boxing, we're cool. So that's how we end up becoming who we are. But I remember, you know what I'm saying? Like once I had found out, like, oh, you got a gym at your house, bro? I always been into, the sport because my godfather is Riddick Bowe as well. So I've always been in the sport, you know what I mean, from a jit. Bro, I remember the first time I was in there training and all that for a few months, but I was one of them youngins that's in there eager to work. I'm trying to get in there and spar, bro. I'm trying to get in there straight sparring. Like, man, I ain't trying to just jab the bag 100 times. I ain't just trying to be doing. I'm trying to get in there and work. Like,
Work.
this what I see on TV.
Yeah.
So I was just in there talking, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like I was decent. That my man father was like, you know what? Bet. Call such and such down here. I'm like, all right, bet, whatever. So the next time I go up in there, he called is this dude that used to be in the training with him or whatever like that. But he, had been out the gym or whatever, but he was a little bigger. Everybody else was a little on the smaller side, lighter side. So he
Mm-hmm.
brought this guy, bro. This dude was like at least at that time, it's probably 6 years ago. At least at that time, bro, he probably at least 330. I might have been 205 at that time. You know what I'm saying? I was big, but I wasn't that big. He
Yeah,
was
it
solid.
wasn't like offensive line big. That's when he
Nah,
was.
seriously, bro. And then he was quick on his feet, though. He one of them big boys that's quick.
Mm,
So boom. And then two at a time, we was fighting in his garage. My boy didn't have the gym like he did now. He got an actual gym he's built with a ring, and they
mm-hmm.
actually built the whole compound. But at this time, we was fighting in his garage. So boom. And that gym was smaller because he had bags and everything. He was trying to fit everything in there.
Yeah.
Imagine two 6 foot tall, 200+ pound gorillas fighting in a phone booth, bro. So boom. I remember coming out. This is my first time sparring. I ain't worked no mitts. I'm like, okay, this is real. You know what I'm saying? And of course, you get your little jitters of like, what if it don't go right? So
Yeah.
boom. I come out. I'm just like, all right, whatever. I come out, hit him with a quick jab. Boom. That must have woke bruh up. Like the jab popped him back. All I know is he just because there ain't nowhere for me to move around and nothing
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
we gonna have to engage, bro.
Yeah.
He came there. I don't know how to slip punches or none of that. He came and hit me with this clean left hand straight down. Boom. That punch. Now we finished working now. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? We ain't never quit. We ain't never get out in the ring. We ain't none of that.
Mm-hmm.
That punch though, let me know. Okay, this is boxing for real. This is what this is. Like, bro, my neck snap. I'm working. You know what I'm saying? I was working a regular job. I went to work the next day, bro, on fire. My whole back of my neck. So, bro, I'm turning like this because of the amount of, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
force. I'm like, okay, nah, bro.
You might have pain
This
that
right
you
here,
like. Yeah.
I said, look, if I'm not getting, I said, I'm a prize fighter. You feel me? I made that decision of him. I'm not fighting for free, bro. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care about no props. Unless I'm getting that bag, I'm not about to do this every day for recreation, just to come in here and just, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it
Yeah.
do take a commitment, bro. That I said all that to say that, like actually getting in there and trying it. Now I didn't, you know what I'm saying, get out of there. Like I continued to go back because it's something you gotta be a little bit crazy, bro, to get in there and deal with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
For sure. For
but
sure.
like I say, with seeing Tank and them guys from years and years and years do this, I can see how once you reach that pinnacle, you could lose a little bit of your hunger. Like, did you see, we're gonna side note to the little the zone card they had was it Sonny Edwards versus did you see
Allow your
like that
fight.
stuff that happened in the corner?
Yep. Yep.
You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? And it's something similar to this, so that's why it's so not funny, but like it's serious where when these guys start to think like that,
Mm-hmm.
they're halfway out.
Out the door. Yep.
And when
That's
they
right.
halfway out, that means they probably ain't putting a full into the camp. You know what I'm saying? Because you could be, and
Mm-hmm.
then that could be dangerous when you get into, you know what I mean? Like this is therapy and boxing don't go together. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like it
Yeah.
take away some of your
Yeah, it takes away
what
the
you
hunger and
need.
stuff in
Yeah.
that drive that you need. Like,
Take that killer
yeah,
away from you.
it don't go together. Like you could have boxing, and then once you're done with boxing, you could have therapy. But like both of them, yeah, that they usually don't mix well with that. So, we got to figure out if Tank is completely dedicated and everything like that, to continuing his career at the very least for this upcoming year 2025, starting on March 1st, there against Lamont Roach Jr. So we're gonna see what happens here with this second press conference in DC. I'll be out there, see what I could do, and as far as like going live and all that type of stuff. So I'm gonna try that there, like how it was in New York. So it's gonna be an interesting scene there, because I'm looking to see if they're gonna have a few folks out there from Howard University, might have the band out there or something, or few local fighters that could be in attendance for that as well. Former fighters be in attendance as well. So I'm looking to see how that's going to turn out for that.
Have you heard
Um,
anything about the undercard of that fight?
well, I mean, I've heard a couple things. I had to follow up with um, the trainer there for Jamal Charlo, of a coach Ronnie Shields, because he said that he may have Jamal Charlo on that card on March 1st.
I had
Um,
seen something about, I think, one of the Russell, Antoine Russell. I
Gary
thought he,
Antoine
I
Russell,
thought I
like
seen something like that.
on multiple occasions, they said like Gary Antoine Russell would be
Yeah.
on this card. So,
I want to
that,
see my man. I like to shout out them guys from the DMV. I got to shout out my man. You know what I'm saying? I want to see him get in
but
there
yeah,
and,
but
and get to work
that's
with them
another
guys.
thing too. I wonder if they're gonna have it to where they could feature as many fighters within the DC area as they can with this particular card, because that will remind me of when you had Tank Davis fight Hector Luis Garcia, over there at the Verizon Center, and he had like all those folks from DC be part of the card. Mia Ellis, Jaleel Hackett, Lamont Peterson. It was on there. Damon Nicholson was on the joint. So it was like a lot of folks, fighters there within DC that was part of that particular card. But with this being over at the Barclays Center, we'll see if they'll be able to do the same thing with that. While having a couple of other, well-known fighters also to add to the card. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the thing on that one. Next up, earlier in the week or whatnot, you had the announcement of the Riyadh season continuing in 2025, February 22nd, 2025. Yeah, a bunch of fights on that card. You got Zlazang Agekavio. You got Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield Jr. You got Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. You got Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz. You got Colin Smith versus Joshua Buatsi. You got Virgil Ortiz versus Israel Madrimov. And you got, headlining there, uh, Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol. So really, really stacked card there for February 22nd. What's your thoughts on it overall?
I'm surprised that the Schofield and Shakur fight happened so quickly. So that shows me that going forward, that if Shakur and them guys really want them fights, they can make those fights happen expeditiously with any of the other top names, because they made this fight quick. You know what I'm saying? Like that fight seemed like that happened real quick. So going forward, those Haney's and those Tank fights, and I see that those guys can make those fights super quick, because that was fast. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Kid Austin's a good fighter, but I'm one of those people, like there's a few guys that can go before a certain time. I don't think he's like old enough yet. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like Shakur is kind of hitting that man strength age where he's fought those higher guys. Kid Austin's a real good fighter, but I think they speeding him up a little bit, because some losses, depending on like the age of the fighters, can ruin
Mm-hmm.
their careers. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, if you were to hypothetically go in there and, you know, not look great, it could be detrimental to like his trajectory, you know what I'm saying? Like going forward, because he's young, so he might have to fight that mental battle. And then if he does, because he got dropped his last one, and he goes from
Yeah.
that to jumping straight into this one where
Mm-hmm.
he might be in his head. You know what I'm saying? Like if he don't have a good performance this fight, he might be in his like similar to like Shakur. Shakur was winning his fights when he wasn't knocking them guys out. He was winning still, and
Mm-hmm.
then he still was under attack. He would go out there and win, and
Yeah.
they still would where he kind of went into like a little mild uh tyrant. You know what I'm saying about the people and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. So I don't see if Floyd is like that. I feel like his team is pushing him. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? What else is on that card? That's gonna be a good fight though. Styles make fight.
Yeah. You
I
know,
just
like I
think
said,
Shakur. Huh? Go ahead.
you got it. You
I
got it
think
on that
Shakur is.
support joint. Yeah.
I think he's a little. To me, I think he's just older. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a little more advanced in his cycle where he's at, where he might
Mm-hmm.
actually school Floyd. Not saying that Floyd's not a good fighter. He's a good young fighter for his age bracket. But I think
Mm-hmm.
Shakur is just a couple classes, above him as far as age, maturity, and experience. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that might play a huge factor because the guy, what's the name, just fought wasn't like no world class fighter that
Yeah,
Schofield just
Schofield.
fought.
Yeah, Schofield. When he fought Renee Tejas.
Yeah, I don't think Tejas was no.
I mean, I'm not sure if you were at remember the Roach versus Fergal McCrory fight card
Yeah,
at the Entertainment Sports Arena. Like Renee Tejas was on that card.
okay. He
Yeah,
fought the was it the featherweights or something like that?
yeah. It was Alex Delmagani around that weight class though. It was
I
around
think
like,
it was
but
some
that was like
130s on that card. So he
yeah,
might have
but
been
that
at
was like
blue
a
belt.
bloodbath, man. I was there, ringside, and man, you had like blood all over the tables and all that shit for that fight. So, yeah, but that's like a completely different style, and you have a whole another level of experience when it comes to Shakur Stevenson there. And even though you have Floyd Schofield Jr. there, he has Floyd Schofield Sr. and he has Coach Ronnie Shields there that he works with over in Texas here, and Ronnie Shields, of course, former fighter and your great trainer there. There's going to be a lot for him to work on in order to prepare for Shakur Stevenson. Even though Schofield has kind of like been established there in the lightweight division, and you know you had Stevenson be there at featherweight and at super featherweight, and now at lightweight. You have Shakur Stevenson as one of those guys that's considered among the top 10 pound for pound fighters, according to some. So that's the thing that Floyd Schofield Jr. will have to get ready for. What guy says, Kid Austin definitely needs to cut off the ring. Needs to study Shakur's footwork closely, see if there's certain patterns or a certain way that he tends to circle more. Heavy film study. So yeah, it's gonna be there's gonna be a lot of that. I'll tell you that right now. It's gonna be a lot of that, for this coming fight, February
But see,
26th.
bro, I think with this fight, with
Mhm.
the age gap, you know what I'm saying? Because like Shakur's still in that age gap where he still probably look at guys younger than him like I'm the OG. You know what I mean? Like I'm the big
Mhm.
bro type. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
mindset.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He probably gonna fight Kid Austin more than we've seen him fighting these other guys his last fight. Like he probably gonna go in there. He ain't gonna move around as much. I think he gonna want to really, get his get back from the last two performances and kind of
Mm-hmm.
take it out on Kid Austin because Austin's a nice,
The
he's a
guy.
notable name from what his dad, you know what I mean? Like the talking
Yeah.
that his dad does makes him
Mhm.
kind of like Lonzo Ball and put a target on his back. We like the kid,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so much other stuff outside of his where
LeVar,
now
yeah.
we looking at like we critical of him. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
there's so much chit chat, we critical of him instead of just letting them come through and grow and we can say, okay, nah, Shawty cool, we like him.
Mm-hmm.
His pop, kind of you feel me? Like
Yeah.
makes it tough for us to want to be on his team. That's why I think Shakur
Well,
is gonna
yeah,
come out and box him.
yeah, I feel you, man. I got to make a phone call, actually, to Mr. Floyd Senior here in a little bit because he said that we try to set up something for it. So, yeah, I got to line that up. If I could do that for tomorrow, I got to line it up. Shout out to Timmy Taylor here. He says, Tank next three fights likely to be Lamont Roach, El Rio, and Lomachenko. Nah. Remember,
Lomo probably done.
yeah, got
Lomo
Lamont
probably on
Roach
that other
because
side.
You got Lamont Roach because El Rayo would have been a potential opponent, but he had a little bit of a legal issue going on within his team. So that's partly why you don't have Tank versus El Rayo right now. Lomachenko is basically out the door, basically retired. So that's why you're not going to get that. But I have a feeling that if Tank gets this win, particularly if it's by stoppage over Lamont Roach, he'll call out a certain person because he told Dan Canabio that he's going to be calling out somebody after the fight, and I have an idea of who that particular fighter is. But that's
I'll
going to
be
be
trying to figure it out because I don't know. Because I don't. I mean, from what I'm seeing, I don't think he really cared about Shakur. You know what I'm saying? I don't
mm,
think he really. Just the way he, you know what I mean? I don't know. That might be a good fight. Me personally, I think that tension, like that fight, like you see
mm,
how Tank was up there kind of like chill and all of them. And
yeah,
I think one of that is part of that the respect they have for Roach and them from coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
that familiarity where it's
yeah,
like these ain't just never other randoms on the street where what? You feel me?
right.
It's more of a family where they on the beltway together, you know what I'm saying? So it's a little more
Hmm.
love opposed to like Rolly, you know what I'm saying? Them other
Yeah,
guys with what I really you know what
yeah,
I'm
like
saying?
Ryan or yeah.
Would that really come up out you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know
Hmm.
y'all, so this can really get there. But
Hmm.
versus them, you know what I'm saying? He probably ain't gonna go
Yeah, you got that
too
level of respect and that type of stuff.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
ain't gonna go too crazy. But like say him and Shakur was to fight, just all the chit chat and or the Keyshawn or somebody like that build up.
Yeah.
He got that in the back of his head, like bet. You know what I'm saying? Bet. When I
Hmm.
see y'all gonna feel me. Bet. We ain't gonna do all this. When I get up with y'all, be ready. Know it's popping. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
that the kind of fight I would want to see him. Keyshawn can get that fight. I like Keyshawn, you know what I'm saying? Keyshawn been earning his thing, one of them guys, but I don't know his next fight, bro. Who you
His next
think
fight,
next
his
three
next
could
fight
be?
is going to be against Dennis Berinchik.
Berinchek?
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be
Who
Berinchik.
who who Berinchek signed with? What side are you on?
I mean, they have him, fighting under top rank. He got that WBO belt. So after Keyshawn's performance against Gustavo
No. I
Mendes,
meant Tank,
oh,
not Brinchek. Tank, yeah. Who you think Tank's next fight gonna be? That's what I thought
uh,
you saying. Tank gonna fight
oh yeah,
Brinchek.
yeah,
I
okay.
say what?
Who would Tank's next fight be?
Yeah, what you think his 2025 like?
If he's able to fight 3 times in 2025, March against Lamont Roach, around July against maybe Rayo, but I don't think it's going to be Rayo
It'll be
because
like a random opponent that we haven't
because of his next fight.
heard of.
But I feel like he should set it up to where he fights Shakur Stevenson after this fight. You got Stevenson versus Schofield in February. The next week you're gonna have Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach in March. You see what happens with Shakur Stevenson? If you're able to perform there against Lamont Roach in March, go ahead and have that fight set up. You'd have all the momentum you need for that fight. No real build up really needed. Go ahead and have that fight. You feel me? And just get that thing and get that done. Now, one fight that could be on the outside. You mentioned El Rayo, but El Rayo is lined up to face Gary Antoine Russell. Gary Antoine Russell win that fight, then you have another internal battle. Tank Davis versus Gary Antoine Russell.
Oh, Swan and Ryo supposed to be fighting?
Yeah, yeah. Antoine and Rayo. It's
When
supposed to be on
okay.
that card.
See, I be seeing so much with Antoine. I thought he was supposed to be fighting or he was trying to wait for the winner of Boyo.
Pollo and Sando Martin.
I thought he
Yeah,
was
that's
supposed to be
what they
like the
had.
mandatory or something
Yeah,
like that.
he's slated to be the mandatory, but they got it set up to where we could get in here with Ryo, then cool. We'll do that. We'll set that up. Yeah, we'll fight.
That day,
We'll
that'd
fight
be
for
a
that
good.
title.
You know what we need to start doing too, bro? And honestly, to keep this sport propelling, we gotta speak like these fights like Antoine versus Ryo, which would be a great fight. You know what I'm saying? We have to help continue to build those fights. Like we've heard enough of the Shakurs and the Canelos and the Tanks, but
Mm-hmm.
there's only one or two or three of those guys. But there's a lot of good fights like a Ryo versus Antoine or I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's a lot of guys at
Like
140 that should be spoke
yeah,
about more that can actually deliver the show. Like 140
mhm.
right now is loaded, bro.
Yeah. 140 is
140
loaded.
is stacked.
135 is definitely loaded. That to me is like one of the the divisions that has a lot of talented fighters on it, and it's been like that for some time. So I would like to see a number of those matchups at 135 and at
You know
140.
Kenneth Sims Jr.? You know Kenneth Sims Jr.?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think at 140 he could beat a lot of them guys, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Kenneth
yeah.
Sims,
Didn't he
that is one of
recently
the guys
sign
I
with?
like to watch.
Didn't he recently sign with Golden Boy though?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
I gotta see what they're gonna have lined up for him because he had a fight out there in August, right? Yeah, he had a fight in August. So we're seeing
Like
here what else they're gonna have lined up with him. You feel me?
him at 40, bro, he don't got that backing behind him, but fight wise, I forgot who he fought, bro. Some guy he had fought like 1 or 2 years ago. It was a guy from like overseas somewhere. I think the guy that he fought might have had like 8 or 9 fights at that time. When I say, bro, that fight was tough. Like that was a dog fight.
Yo, now he beat Elvis Rodriguez. Remember how they were building up Elvis Rodriguez there over in Top Rank,
That's
and
what I'm saying, bro.
he was the one that beat Rodriguez.
He's proven, he's shown I can beat these top guys, these guys that y'all putting stock in. And I feel like
Mhm.
when you eat those guys up, you know Diddy or whatever you guys be saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Whenever you feel me, you defeat these top guys, I feel like you should jump that line to say, you know what, I'm in his spot now. You know what I'm saying? And he's
mhm.
fought a lot of guys where I think he's a little bit older though. I think he might be close to 30 or something where these next 2 or 3 fights, I want to see him in championship level fights. Maybe a title eliminator, and then I want to see him straight into those. Because, bro, he's fought
Yeah.
Montana Love. He's fought like all those kind of guys, you know what I'm saying? Where
It's been around
he's
there that's
showing you
been
that I'm a I'm a
yeah,
world contender.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So there's a lot of guys at 140 that we don't speak about. You know, Brandon Lee, good fighter. You know what I'm saying? He had a nice knockout streak going on Showtime when they were still rolling. He's
Yep.
another guy that could be in the mix to, there's a lot of guys at 140, bro, that the fans don't know that we
And
need to help.
the thing is too, they're gonna have two new entries at 140 pounds from 135, and George Kambosos Jr. and Frank Martin. So
Mm.
now you're gonna have at least a little more activity down there at that super lightweight division. So yeah,
I
I'm
like Sims
definitely
Jr. versus Frank Martin then. I like that. Whoever in there get the title after that. Both of them.
mm,
I like that fight. That's
yeah,
a nice
I gotta
profile
see
fight right there.
I gotta see what Frank Martin doing because it looks like he's gearing himself to have a fight here pretty soon. So we gotta see how that goes, man. We gotta see how that goes. But yeah, you talk about the joint there for Riyadh season. Of course, you had what happened there. What is it? Daniel Dubois. He's going to be defending the IBF title against Joseph Parker. That's going to be something for Joseph Parker to have another opportunity for a world title. Former WBO world champion. Now going up against Daniel Dubois, and these two guys, during this Riyadh season run, have had impressive victories. There, you have Joseph Parker, having a wins over Deontay Wilder, and Zhilei Zhang, right? And then you have Daniel Dubois, who had his wins over Jarrell Miller, and then Philip Hergovich, and then Anthony Joshua. So now you got these two guys that are around that top 10 of the heavyweight division now facing each other here. While you know what's going to be coming up here within a couple of weeks at the top of the heavyweight division. Now with this fight, you could say that this could be the fight for that number 2 or number 3 spot. there in the heavyweight division between these two.
I think, bro, because Joseph Parker, like you say, he's had a nice campaign as of late to, like I just was saying, those gateway fighter guys to show you I'm up there.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph Parker is a prime example of that, where he's taken down some big names to let you know I'm
Yeah,
the
that's
real
true.
deal. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I was a B side, but I'm beating these A sides. I'm a real deal. Where to me, bro, I don't know if Dubois is hitting that because sometimes those guys reach a celebrity moment and kind of put their head like when Ruiz won the heavyweight title from Anthony
Yeah.
Joshua, that stardom where you're not, like I say, that hunger, you're not back into it where
Right. Yeah, like you said at the beginning there. Yeah.
he could be on his little lap, his victory lap, you know what I'm saying, still doing press conferences and all of that. And he might pop in and train versus like focused. Parker might mess around and get him. You know what I'm saying? Just off of being the Parker that got him here. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Dubois is a good fighter. I like Dubois, bro, but him coming off that a fight of that magnitude,
Yeah.
like he gotta get his like what Terrence Crawford beat Spence. He went on a little I'm the
Yeah. A little
man
tour.
tour. I'm the
Yeah.
man. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I don't know if Dubois gonna be in that kind of moment where fighting AJ and Wembley with 90,000 plus or however many thousand plus in attendance.
It looked about 85,000 to me when I was there, man. But
I
yeah.
had to jazz it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Had to round it off
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
95,000 plus, but that's a big crowd though, bro. We can't
Yeah.
knock that.
It is,
That's a
man.
lot of
That's a
people. That
stadium, man.
ain't
You know.
15, 10,000. That's a lot of people
Yeah,
regardless.
yeah, that's wild to have it like in a stadium of that caliber. It makes watching boxing fights like that like completely different than being in an arena. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so that's the thing. The only other time I've had that experience was that Spence versus Ugas at the AT&T Stadium, but I was like around the floor level for that joint. But it still is a different experience though doing that too. You know,
So,
but
too, I'm
yeah,
gonna
that's gonna
ask,
be an
bro,
interesting bout.
why when they have these kind of fights, these 5v5s or whatever, why is AJ never on them?
Oh, I don't know about the 5v5 because they had the joint where like he was part of the heavyweight thing last year. Remember December of last year where you had the what was it? Parker. I thought Parker fought somebody on that one as well. But you had the Joshua versus Otto Wallin. Wilder was on the joint. I think that was that was Wilder versus Parker was on that one. Yeah. You had like I get Kapiel versus Arslan Bekmambetov on that whole heavyweight card that they had in December. But yeah, he's been on it, but not like a
Oh,
5v5 type of joint.
I was looking at the 5v5 joint they had last year with Wilder and Zane.
Yeah,
I'm like, Wilder not even signed to Matchroom. I'm like, and then AJ's fighting freaking the
Ngannou.
UFC guy.
Yeah, Ngannou.
I'm like, bro, he supposed to be repping his label. He supposed to be banging his set. Why is he fighting the UFC guy? They signed Wilder. They was trying to off Wilder. They was trying to throw him in the ringer so that way he wouldn't have to fight AJ. They be trying to, keep AJ out of the danger. So why he not fighting Zane, man? I want to see AJ fight nothing but these dogs. Like, go out on your shield, bro. You was one of the top
I
heavyweight
mean,
guys. We want to
he'll
see you
likely do
fight.
that. He'll likely do that. But with Zhang being like not there, then I had to see how that goes. And now with Wilder, he's coming off of shoulder surgery. Now they're saying that they might have Deontay Wilder fight Francis Ngannou next year. I mean, I'll see. I might hit up the Cobra there, man, to see if they got any update on Francis Ngannou, what his next fight's going to be, whether it's an MMA or not. Because I mean, what he won that MMA fight they had over there in Saudi. I think that was in Saudi Arabia too. So I think they're trying to build another one of those events coming up for Riyadh season. I don't know if it's going to be March or April or something like that, but if they're looking at probably trying to have Deontay Wilder versus Francis Ngannou, then I don't know. I'll probably get some insight on it. Yeah, I gotta contact him as well, man. That would be something. Yeah, I'll see if I could do that as well. I mean,
I
that's
don't
the thing
think
about
Wilder
boxing,
got
man.
it no more, bro.
That's the thing about that's the thing about it, man. I don't know how people like try to keep up with all these fighters, man, and all the fighters and promoters and managers. It's
Uh,
like, man, you gotta do that joint every day. Cause I mean, here within the past week, I done spoke with like a whole bunch of folks, and there's still like a lot more to try to get in contact with.
Oh
So
no, you've been working, bro. I've been
yeah,
seeing you. You've been. I'm gonna give my man. Hey y'all, my man been grinding, y'all. You better stop playing. All right, boxing. So my man was out Houston. My man be in Norfolk. My man be on the go. Okay, this the number one guy right here. Y'all worry about all them other guys. This man right here come to the action. All right, my man was in VA. Next day he in Philly.
Philly,
You know,
man,
my
that
man be in London, my man be in UK 85,000 plus. This the guy right here. When you want to know some boxing, you gotta go to the guys that's actually on the ground with it. This guy got them hours, man. He putting that work in. Get with
man,
my man boxing source.
and I tried, man. I tried one end, and then other end, try to get folks, to if you in the scene with boxing, man, I'll try to get the links and all that type of stuff because my thing is with this being a as I say individual sport, like fighters gonna have to do what they need to do in order to promote themselves on any level. So if I'm like a media outlet, you're a media outlet, fighters, they got to reach out to us. You feel me? So it's like, hey, if I got a fight coming up, I should talk with this guy. I should talk with this guy. I should be over, in these, like, say, do a clothing drive or something like that. I got to be seen because if I'm not seen when I actually have a fight, these people ain't gonna be, buying the tickets or watching the TV or buying the pay per view to watch the fight because they haven't seen me. So yeah, that's my thing is just trying to get as much exposure of the sport of boxing to the common people as I possibly can. So that's my avenue with that. You feel me?
And see, like, bro, with me wearing multiple hats in the boxing game, bro. I was
Yeah,
thinking that the other day. I'm like, fighters, because when you do reach out and you trying to bring them on, you might see something interesting where you feel like, okay, the people need to hear this. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like, okay, this is interesting where this is gonna help bring some notoriety to the fighter and to the event. Like, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
people should know when you
Yeah,
hit them up and they kind of dragging their feet or whatever. It's like, all right, you know what I'm saying? All right,
yeah,
but at the same
yeah.
time, like you say, they should know like the media should be their best friend. You know what I'm saying? Like that should
Mm-hmm.
be because anytime you do got a fight announcement or like you say a message or anything, they gonna be there to support and continue to keep you going.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the
Yeah,
media keeps
yeah, yep, for sure. Like,
and like you say, out of sight, out of mind. So if you
right,
not Tank and all them guys, and you not promoters not rushing to put no call in to get you on no card and keep fighting it, out of sight, out
well,
of mind.
here the thing though. You just said the right word there. Promoters, right? You got the Eddie Hearns, you got the Tom Browns, you got the Oscar De La Hoyas, you got the Bob Arams, you got the Dimitri Salidas, you got the
Was it
who
TGB?
yeah TGB Tom Brown, you got like the Lou DeBellas and all that type of stuff. But if you're not like part of those, if you're not in that, then you got to do what it takes in order to get your name out. Even with some of the folks that are under that, still got to do what it takes in order to get your name out. So if you have these outlets that are willing to, have you on and put you on, then you should be able to jump on that. Because guess what? We're in a way we're promoters as well because we're promoting your event. So there you go. You
And
know what I'm
they
saying?
look, we can promote it good, or we can promote it negatively. We can say he's a good fighter, or we can say he's not that good of a fighter and he got flaws. So you can decide on what we saying.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
And a lot of times that is exactly what happens with the number of these media folks because there's one clear example of that's happened recently that we hadn't necessarily touched on. See if I'll do that before we roll out. All right, Tim Taylor says, will the Saudi promoter taking all the big fights to Saudi Arabia hurt boxing in the long run once the Saudi promoter quits putting on fights? Good question, Tim Taylor. In a sense, some people
Good
may
question.
think that he is hurting boxing right now. Why do I say that? Because if you're someone that has the backing that Turkey Al-Sheikh has, and you're able to bring in fighters because you got the money to bring in those fighters. They can have fights, couple fights here and there, whatnot. And if you're not in the game anymore, those fighters will think, hey, this guy paid me this amount of money, so that is my baseline of what I'm worth. Now, other promoters may be like, well, yeah, they paid you, but they're paying you to go over to Saudi Arabia where they had a unlimited amount of money, unlimited supply of money. We don't have that. We need returns on our investments. So if you are asking for a certain amount of money, and we know that if we crunch the numbers and we ain't getting enough in return, we ain't gonna do it. You see? So with that being said, it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes. And also, remember, Turkey LLC isn't the only one that's kind of like did this, because we just had an event a couple of weeks ago over at AT&T Stadium that involved a number of fighters that were on that card that weren't part of the main event that got paid a whole lot of money for being on that fight card. So how are they going to be viewed from this point forward when it comes to their future fights? And yes, I'm talking about with Jake Paul in Most Valuable Promotions. So let's see how Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano and Mario Barrios, kind of like view their overall worth here from this point forward. So that's what I had on it.
See, I feel like with that, I'm gonna piggyback off of that one. I thought about that question too. I feel like yes and no. I feel like the fights that he's delivering are massive fights that probably wouldn't be made without the kind of money to jump over those fences and make them happen. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because he kind of united it a little bit. Because they're saying different sides of the streets, top ranks, and
Yeah,
match rooms,
yeah,
and all these different
right,
joints where
yeah.
they would have never just worked together.
Mm-hmm.
Where now he's bringing these guys together, showing like a blueprint in a sense to say we can get some of this stuff done if we are willing to participate. You know what I mean? And then in some of those fights, they wouldn't have happened because of the budget, like Schofield versus Shakur and
Please.
them.
Yeah,
I don't know if that would have necessarily just happened, you know what I mean, without somebody saying, look, y'all don't worry about the money. Do y'all want to fight? Yes or no? He doing it like that basically.
that's exactly
Yes
how
or no? Do y'all want to fight? We
that's
ain't
exactly
whatever y'all asking for, that's some change.
that's
Yes or
exactly how
no?
it is.
You know what I'm saying? And they getting the biggest paydays they done ever got, even if it is 2, 3 M's. Like, bro, in boxing, that's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Every
Mm-hmm.
fighter is not getting that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
So even if they do get 1.5 or 2.2 or whatever, bro, you're a normal fighter that's not Tank. They getting not that. I ain't gonna shout their numbers up, but they not getting that much. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Yeah,
So he's
yeah.
speeding them guys up where he making them guys eager to fight. And that's gonna help them get out their shells a little bit to want to fight.
But,
You know what I
but
mean?
yeah,
Go
one
ahead.
of the things that I didn't bring up there with Turkey, as far as like what he's done here over the past, what has it been, like 14 months? I think the first event that he did was Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou in October of last year. But what he's doing is he's the one that's the financier. So all of those other promoters, they don't have to worry about putting up the money up front. That's why you've had all of these crossover battles and crossover fights. Because beforehand, it was, listen, if we don't feel like this particular bout is going to make enough money to please both of us, we're not going to do it. And you kind of like had a couple of examples where the Wilder versus Fury number 2 and 3, those were cross promotional fights basically, and they didn't really get the returns that they needed off that. So a lot of times those promoters held off on those cross promotional battles. Now, as you have mentioned, look what we've had this year. Matchroom versus Queensberry 5v5. You have never had anything close to that. You know, you had what was going on August 3rd with a whole bunch of these fighters here from Golden Boy, from Top Rank, from TGB, Independent or whatever it is, Matchroom, all involved, all on that one card. And so now you're gonna have something like that here coming up on February 22nd because those guys over in Saudi have the money and the backing to make those fights happen. You feel me? Um,
I do be
it's,
wanting to go to some of these fights though. Like it's Saudi, like this card. If this thing was local, I would have went. You know what I'm saying? If it was in
yeah,
the
if it's
state,
local, but yeah, hey, listen, that man, that flight is like 12 hours nonstop or something
yeah,
like that
nah, nah, nah.
from Dulles or something, or you would have to do something with a layover that's like about 18 hours total.
Yeah.
And the longest flight that I've been on was, coming back from, the UK. I had to go to Vienna in order to fly back to Dulles. And I'm like, that was over 9 hours. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about
You
that.
sitting in that airport, boy. That just to make you make some decisions. Like, bro, never again am I getting a connecting flight, bro.
Oh well, no, I mean Vienna wasn't that bad. I mean, I got a few things out there, at the Vienna airport and whatnot. So I mean, that was cool. The layover there wasn't that bad.
Okay,
It's just having to fly over 9 hours to get back over to the States is something. Now, if it's like a layover of like over 3 hours or something like that, you better be able to have it to where I can find something to do. Or else it's like, nah, man, nah. You said, let's see here real quick. You said, why are Canelo and Tank the only two fighters that have rejected the Saudi promoter? Because at this particular point, they're good with what they have here. At least under Al Heyman, PVC or whatnot. So they're
they
able to
probably
make
getting
those
the money
happen.
that they want same
You know,
way.
yeah. So either way, but I've kind of heard some people try to leak out reports that they may have something where you could have Canelo versus Terrence Crawford next year. I can't really talk about that right now.
I don't even
Um,
want to see that fight.
yeah, exactly. So we're gonna go to here last topic in a couple of weeks. Within a couple of weeks, the rematch for now the unified heavyweight championship. Oleksandr Usyk versus Tyson Luke Fury. You've seen what happened there in the first bout. What was that? May 17th or something like that. Um, the first couple of rounds, you had Usyk doing this thing a little bit. Tyson Fury trying to style and saying he ain't really hurt me. Listen, you doctor, you didn't hurt me. And then in the middle rounds, you seen Tyson Fury use his range, and it almost looked like he was just dominating there in those middle rounds. And then Usyk got his second wind, and I guess Fury ended up losing his stamina or something like that, and that's how he got caught. And he nearly got stopped in that ninth round, and ended up having this bout be a decision for Oleksandr Usyk. Now here in the rematch, I don't know, man, because I felt like the first bout, I felt like Tyson Fury blew that. Because in those middle rounds, I felt like he dominated. Like he could have shown that Oleksandr Usyk should not have been in the same ring with him. He could have been the one that said, you know what, you're, as he said, you're a middleweight or whatever he was calling him leading into the bout. So he could have used his tools to try to keep Usyk at bay for the rest of the fight, and he would have went easy. But I'm just saying, it looks like what he had been doing in the past is catching up to him. All that drinking and all the lollygagging and all that type of stuff. It looks like it's caught up to him, and so I feel like Usyk would be the favorite in this bout. And if Usyk wins, particularly in a certain way, I feel like it could be Tyson Fury's last fight.
Yeah, yeah. Like you say, bro. Might have caught up to him. I don't think Fury's the same. I think that fight got him up. I think he got up for that fight, but I still don't think, you know what I'm saying, after losing, because like I said, when you reach them certain levels, only a few bit of things can get you up to put that contender
Driving, yeah.
mentality in you.
Mm-hmm.
That fight did it. Him losing, maybe, but like you said, I don't. that could be defeating as well. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? That could either add that extra like,
Right.
nah, I'm
It
gonna get
could.
you next time, or that could defeat off of them a little bit. It was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
Fury's been in some tough ones the last few fights, bro.
Yeah.
Where I
Yep.
don't know if he wants to keep, like you said, keep going through those wilder, tight dog fights, Usyk, you know. Um, if he is in shape though, I think Fury can do his thing. I think
Mhm.
if he's in shape, I think he can do his thing. How old is Fury?
What is he like? 35, something like that.
Okay, so yeah, he's on that other side then. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, he's definitely on the other side.
He's
36. He's
like,
36. Yeah,
oh
so
yeah, 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 yeah,
oh
yeah.
shit.
I mean, I would like to see a fight between him and AJ after, if he was to hypothetically lose. But like I
Mhm.
say, he should just really use that size and that jab. Like he needs to have that mentality, like when he had fought Wilder. Like that
Mhm.
fight, he knew I can get hurt in this fight. So he got
Mhm.
up. You know what I'm saying? He was more like, you could see him just more into it. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? This fight, if he can get back to that bag right there of, not that mindset of having to pick himself off the ground. You know what I'm saying? Race that.
Mhm.
I feel like once some guys get dropped a certain amount of times, they kind of,
Yeah,
it's
because they
a
had to.
everlasting memory.
It's one thing. I mean, well, at least with Fury, right? Because Fury has been like one of the more or most confident fighters out there in the sport. He's been able to have that run where he's been undefeated. He had the whole thing with the adversity with Deontay Wilder in the first fight. So he's gotten through that.
Right.
And now with that and having those two fights, the other two fights where he was able to stop Deontay Wilder, he's had that level of confidence that's shot up through the roof. Now having this experience of his first loss, how is that affecting him? Particularly, like I said, with the level of confidence that he has.
Then he fought
So
in Ngannou too. Not to cut you off,
yeah,
put that in
yeah,
there. He had a
yeah.
rough performance against
Against,
Ngannou. Put that
mhm.
first. Go ahead.
Yep, the performance against Ngannou, then follow that up with what happened against Oleksandr Usyk here in the first fight. So I think this will be a major factor there, and how that will kind of like carry over to this fight on December 17th or whatnot. But it was like I was mentioning earlier. I mean, even though folks are talking about, still the outside shot that you could have Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, I feel like if this goes in the favor of Alexander Usyk, you might see Fury, hang him up. But even with that, don't be surprised if Usyk wins, he might hang it up. Like he it looks like he's done everything he wants to do in boxing. You know, he's had these couple of fights here in Tyson Fury, and that's probably the pinnacle that he'll have there. He'll have two fights with Tyson Fury. He had two fights with Anthony Joshua. A couple of other fights here within the heavyweight division that he's had, and so it's like,
He
well,
beat Dubois,
yeah, he beat Dubois, so it's like
current
if
champ.
he gets this win, he'll be like 23-0 with his undisputed runs at cruiserweight and heavyweight. Like, what else would be out there for Alexander Usyk to do? He's older than Tyson Fury, so it's like, yeah, what else is out there? I mean, even a Dubois rematch. I don't even know if they would be able to go for a Dubois rematch. They would have that backstory about what happened with the as some say the low blow or whatever it is, or basically a body shot. But outside of that, is Usyk gonna be motivated enough to have another fight after this, especially if he wins it? That's gonna be the question.
What's up with the where do you think the heavyweight division goes, bro, the next
Oh,
few years? Because I don't
good
see no
timely question.
guys, you know what
Real
I'm saying?
timely question. That's a great timely question because I had pulled up this list here on the box rec for heavyweight fighters, right? And that's why I talked about the age there with Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury. Both of them are over 35. Anthony Joshua is at 35. You got
I know
um
Wilder close to 40, ain't he?
he's around that the same age range there. You know what I'm saying? So you got, I mean, Joseph Parker's at 32 though. You got Martin McCauley at 32. You got Daniel Dubois, the youngest of those contenders there by a good margin at 27. He's just 27. They're in the heavyweight division. So you talk about guys like like I said, a Usyk, a Joshua, a Wilder, a Fury, a Zalei Zhang. Like they're over 35. And usually like things are, it's a young man sport. Well, not necessarily a heavyweight at times, because you've had 40-year-old guys win heavyweight titles. Shout out to George Foreman.
That
uh
power the last thing to go. But that
yeah,
worked for them.
yeah,
They ain't doing
yeah,
a bunch of dancing. They gonna put
yeah,
your lights out.
yeah. So it's more about how those guys kind of like can continue or carry over their career going at the end of 24 into 2025, because I feel like, yeah, like a Usyk, a Fury, a Joshua, a Wilder, that particular era is going to be, on its way out. And then you're going to
Chopper
have,
closing.
yeah, the Dubois. You got a Coley that's moved up to heavyweight. You got,
They ducking
uh,
Bacoli, man. They don't want that work. Them boys don't want no work with
Lawrence
Bacoli.
McCauley, but Martin McCauley, though. Martin McCauley, oh my goodness, yo,
They don't want that
how he
work.
did Jared Anderson, man, yo, that was just, oh my god, that was
Don't
crazy.
nobody want Bacoli work. You know what I'm saying? Like him to me,
And
he the number one out
I
there.
heard though that Bacoli was asking for a good amount of money to fight I get Cabio. So I would be really interested to see what's going to be next for Bacoli, because IBF ordered Bacoli versus Efe Ajagba just going down the line. So I mean, we'll see. You feel me? We'll see. But that being said, that's mainly what I had here for this particular version. We're just getting ready to set up to get out there for the Washington D.C. press conference with Tank Davis and Lamont Roach Jr. So we'll be able to link up then. Like I said, I'll be out there as early as I possibly can. Try to get it. Well, I move around anyway, so it's more about where I would position against the camera for like a live thing. But I'll just be out on the move regardless and see what's going down there. But we'll be able to link up here later, and we'll set up another conversation here later on down the line, probably one before the end of the year, because I usually have like a year-end award show and that type of stuff for fighter of the year, fighter of the year, that type of thing too. So I would want to get your thoughts on that there within the next couple of weeks, especially after what could happen on December 17th with that rematch between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury. So definitely want to get into that here when we can. So big ups for having this particular session, and yeah, I'll see you later, my dude.
Appreciate it, bro.
All right, no doubt. Later.
All right.